Welcome to Coach Bennett's podcast, where every run has a purpose, where kindness is hardcore, where this is about running, and this is not about running, where every starting line is a finish line in disguise, where rambling still gets you where you need to be, where pineapple will never ruin your pizza, and the sodas, adult and not adult kind, are always cold, and where there is room on the starting line for everybody. I'm Coach Bennett. Thank you for letting me be a part of your day. Let's get started. Welcome to episode 103 of Coach Bennett's podcast. This one called Comebacks, and it's destined to be a great one because I'm recording it in the bathroom of a hotel room. And we've got a little bit of a streak here where recordings done in the bathroom of hotel rooms have been great. And the cool thing is that this studio at this hotel in New York City is going to be used a lot because right after I'm done recording, guess what? Coach Bennett the Greater, she's going to be recording some podcasts of her own here in, like I said, Studio 18, because we're on floor 18 of this hotel in New York City, so that's what we're going to call it, Studio 18. So you're in for a treat because, well, like I said, we've got a streak, and this one is called Comebacks, episode 103, Comebacks, and once again, inspired by so many of you, not just over the last couple of weeks, and I think it has something to do with the time of the year, where so many people are coming back to the sport. So I just wanted to dedicate an episode, probably going to be on the shorter side, because like I said, we're in Studio 18, and I don't have that much time in Studio 18. And I got to tell you, as great as this studio is, it's a little cramped because it is a bathroom in a hotel room in New York City. So most hotel rooms in New York City, not that big. Bathrooms, even smaller. And I'll tell you, this one has got to be one of the smallest bathrooms I've ever been in. It is so small. In fact, maybe I'll take a video or take a picture of it. I mean, just so you can get an idea. Right now I'm sitting down on the throne, not using it, just using it to, record this. And if I move my elbow to the left, yes, I'm touching a wall. If I move my other elbow about 6 inches, it's hitting the shower. So my knees are about 1.5 feet away from the door. I mean, this thing is cramped. But you know what? It's fine because all I got to do is record something, right? So record it, edit it, and then I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to pick up some Chinese food, and then I'm going to walk it back, and then I'm going to watch the Knicks game. That's right, Knicks, Indiana, game 1 happening tonight. Hopefully this works out, and I'm happy by the end of the evening. If not, well, at least you'll hear in my voice just how excited I was for the Knicks to blow out the Pacers. All right, and if it doesn't happen, whatever. I'd rather be hopeful and let down than despondent and hopeless and right. So here we go. Let's get into it. Now, comebacks. Most people think when I'm talking about comebacks, I'm talking about epic comebacks. And I'll tell you what, I am, but I'm also talking about so many other comebacks. Now, as a coach, as an athlete, as a fan, I love the story of comebacks. Now, I mentioned most people think of the epic ones when I'm talking about comebacks, or when they start thinking about comebacks, they're thinking of, somebody coming back from injury. And usually it's a serious injury, or coming back from sickness, and it's a long-term sickness, or they're thinking about a life event, and you can imagine the roller coaster that life is, so you can think about some of the events that may take you away from the sport for an extended period of time. But I'm not just talking about those things. I'm absolutely talking about those things, but I'm not just talking about those things. You can have minor injuries. You can have sicknesses that don't last very long and were never that serious, but they were serious enough to take you away from the sport for a little while. Some life events don't have to be these epic life events. Sometimes it's just an event in life that takes you away from the sport. So when you come back to the sport, it's a comeback. It could just be between seasons. Maybe you're someone who's running outdoor track and you have some time off and then you got to start training for cross country. Okay, that's a comeback. Could be post-race. And yeah, it could be finishing a marathon and needing to take time off, or finishing a half marathon and needing to take time off, or finishing an ultra marathon and taking time off. But it could be coming back after a 5K or a 10K on the track or an 800. It could be something like that. Because I'll tell you what, after a race, the highs or the lows that come along with that, you have to come back from that. It could simply be time away from the sport where you chose to take time away from the sport. Or maybe you don't remember choosing to take time away from the sport. You just ended up away from the sport, and now it's time to come back. And a comeback could simply be the time between that last run you did and the next run. They're all comebacks. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because every time you come back to a starting line, every time you come back to the sport, it's worthy of celebration. They all deserve celebration. And I want you to just remember that, because we take for granted so many times we come back. And if you run consistently, I guarantee you take for granted the fact that you came back the next day or 2 days later. Or some of you may be running twice a day, a couple days a week. You take for granted the fact that you came back to another starting line in the same day. Why? Why do we do that? Why do we diminish some of these things that we do that are worthy of celebration? Why do we deem some things not worthy of celebrating? I don't know. It's not like the world needs less celebrating. It needs more celebrating. And when you come back to something as worthy of celebration as a run is, why do we feel like it's not enough? Well, part of it goes to the fact that most of us feel like we're not enough. So therefore we feel like whatever we do is not enough. So how could we be celebrating something that's just not enough being done by somebody who's not enough? Well, all of that is garbage. So enough is enough. Let's move on to what's next, because all that stuff is worthy of your celebration. Okay. Now, what are some of the keys to a successful comeback? I think I'm going to go there first. Well, that's not first. I've talked about a whole bunch of other things, but I think I want to talk about that, especially for the people who maybe have been away from the sport for a little while for whatever reason, one of the ones I mentioned, or they're having a hard time coming back to the sport or to the next run. I want you to think about some of the keys to a successful comeback, all right? Because I think if you do that, it's going to lead you back, and it's going to keep you coming back to more and more starting lines. So why are you coming back? Why would you come back to the starting line? This is a really good thing to think about during some of that time away from the starting line. And not just if you feel like you're lacking motivation or you're low on inspiration. I think it's good to do even when you're high on inspiration, when you've got tons of motivation. It's good to remind yourself, why are you coming back? Or why do you feel like you would like to come back? Or what are you missing about coming back? What is it? Is it the challenge? Is it the fact that when you do a run, could be really anything athletic, because this is about running and it's not about running, and it doesn't even have to be athletic. It could be anything that is something that makes you feel passion, something that excites you. What brings you back to starting another line of the novel? What gets you excited? Or why are you coming back to the classroom to learn or the classroom to teach? Why are you coming back? What is it? And write it down. Yes, you know me, I'm a big fan of writing stuff down. Write down what it is that drives you back, leads you back, takes you back to the starting line. One of the keys to a successful comeback is knowing why you're coming back. A lot of times we just go through autopilot mode and we show up and we do it and we don't know why. And we're missing out on a great conversation with ourselves about why we do the things we do. And potentially having this conversation can stop you from doing the things you don't want to do. So why are you coming back? And another question I think you should ask to have a successful comeback is, how are you different since the last run? Now, there's so many different ways and so many different reasons why you would be coming back to a starting line. So this is obviously going to be unique to your situation. How are you different since the last run? Maybe the last run you did, you had been in pain for months and months and months, and you finally got diagnosed with a stress fracture or some other issue. Maybe the last time you took a starting line, it was the beginning of a major race that you had trained for a long period of time. Maybe the last time you took a starting line was the last time you were being coached by someone who was driving all of the love you had out of the sport and out of you. Now you're back. How are you different? Do you now realize that the love you had for the sport that was driven out seemingly by this coach was always there, but they were just making the sport miserable, and that's why you did not want to be a part of the sport, and now you realize you just don't need to be a part of that person's team, and now you're back. That's one way that you're different. You're smarter. You've got earned wisdom. You know what's important. Maybe now you're healed from that injury, so now you feel like you can do this. Maybe you're a little bit nervous, whereas the last time you ran, you weren't nervous, but you rolled an ankle, or the workout didn't go the way that you had planned, or the race didn't pan out the way you had hoped. And maybe you feel a little vulnerable now that you're on the starting line again. That's okay. How are you different since the last run? This is another good exercise to have before your runs. Just have a conversation with yourself. How are you different? I'm more confident. I'm less confident. I'm more vulnerable. I'm less vulnerable. I'm more excited. I'm less excited. Answer the question. But first, you got to ask it. How are you different? Because what this is going to do, it's going to teach you to ask the athlete questions. Because it's the athlete that's doing the run, not the coach. And you can become your own best coach. And in doing so, you'll help yourself become your own best athlete. So ask yourself, not just why are you coming back, but how are you different since the last run? Then, do you know where you are? Do you know where you are? A lot of times I'll tell you to own your own fitness. If you want to have a great run, own your own fitness. And what that means is know where you are here and now. It's wonderful that prior to the injury, the sickness, the race that didn't go as planned a few months ago, you were in such great shape. You were strong. You were capable. You felt like you were ready to rock. And now you've been away from the sport for a couple months, a couple weeks, a year, years. Well, you're no longer the athlete you were. You no longer have the fitness that you had. That's fine. That's okay. In fact, own the fact that you are exactly where you are. And if you do that, there's a better chance you're going to have the run you're supposed to do, the run that you can do, the run that's going to take you to that next place, progress you to the finish line of this run, which will be forward and not backwards. Because if you try to be someone you used to be, if you try to be someone you're not yet, you're going to be running the run for someone that is not here. That person is you. You have to own your fitness, own who you are as an athlete today. So, do you know where you are and who you are right now? If you know those questions, then you can know where you're going and how to do it. So own your fitness. Do you know where you are and who you are now? Now, another question that kind of tags along with that is, do you remember where you were? So I just told you, don't focus on where you were the last time you ran before this comeback. But now I want you to think about it. Think about who you were. But this isn't to judge yourself and diminish yourself in a negative way right now. It's the opposite. I want you to realize that all of that earned wisdom, all of those breakthroughs you had, the barriers you busted through to get to wherever you were the last time you took a starting line, you don't forget that stuff. Yes, the fitness may dissipate a little bit over time if you're not working out, but the learnings don't. And the acknowledgement and the appreciation of what you had done to get to where you were, that can help you become confident again if you feel like you're lacking confidence. Because what is confidence? All it is an appreciation of our own qualities and accomplishments, what we've already done, who we already are. That's what confidence is. So do you remember where you were, who you were? Take all of those great qualities, those achievements, those accomplishments that you have earned and bring them with you to this starting line. Because that's where you can be confident, not just to do what you're supposed to do, but own who you are today. Because a lot of times what happens is people lose confidence because they've been away from the sport. And they feel like, well, I'm not fit anymore. Confidence doesn't come from whether you're fit or not. Confidence comes from knowing who you are, your qualities, your accomplishments, your achievements. And that confidence gives you the patience to do the work that you need to do, that you should do here and now when you're starting a comeback. It is not a sign of confidence to try to do too much. It is not a sign of confidence to try too hard. It is a sign of confidence to do what you need to do consistently. Do the right thing. That's a confident athlete, okay? So do you remember where you were and who you were? And bring that to the starting line. Those qualities, those accomplishments, those achievements, and you will also be bringing a confident athlete to the starting line. Okay, another question. Do you know where you want to go? Okay, this should be fun. This should be exciting. This shouldn't be something of, I have so far to go. You know how great it is to know you've got a long journey ahead of you? That you have a constant source of inspiration to get somewhere. You know how sad it would be if I want to go to there, and by the end of this first run, you're there. There's nowhere left to go. All the mountaintops have been climbed. You have reached the apex, the pinnacle. There are no more high water marks. Oh, are you kidding? See, I think one of the most exciting things should be the beginning of a comeback. And guess what? You're always at the beginning of a comeback because you're always coming back to the starting line. That's why I mentioned one example of a comeback is coming back to the starting line since your last run, your most previous run. Does that make sense? Your most previous run or just your previous run? I guess the previous run is the previous run. There isn't a most previous run. I mean, you've had previous runs, but the point is, what I want you to think about is how exciting it is to know you're progressing. Yes, even on the first run. And even though the first run might be a minute or 2 minutes, believe me, I've had athletes that are coming back from injury or sickness and their first run is a minute or 2 minutes. And I'll tell you what, I am just as excited when they finish a 1 minute or 2 minute run and they say, I was pain-free or I feel pretty good, as I am when they have a huge breakthrough in a race. Because we have moved forward. And in some cases, you could make the point that we've moved even farther forward when we've done a 1 minute or 2 minute pain-free run after potentially weeks or months or years of pain than when we're having a breakthrough in a race after months of pain-free training. So once again, do not diminish the value of a run based on the volume of minutes, meters, or miles. That is not telling you the whole story of a run. It just tells you how far and how long, not how substantial, not how essential, not how extraordinary, okay? So think about where you want to go. Yes, in the long run, pun intended, but also in the short run. Where do you want to go? Because it's good to know which direction you're going, because the purpose of that question, and I know some people are like, why does it matter where I'm going for a 2 minute run or a 5 minute run? Because you're moving forward. And if yesterday was no minutes, and the day before that was no minutes, and the day before that was no minutes, then it is substantial to run for 5 minutes or 2 minutes. And I want you to be thinking of these words as you're starting your comeback, continuing your comeback. I want you to be thinking about the value and the importance of words like patience, confidence, motivation, inspiration, joy. These are the things you want to be bringing into your comeback, because when you have been coming back for a while and you've got your groove and you're building strength and you're building endurance and you're getting faster and you're confident and you're like, I'm ready to rock and roll again. Those things, patience, confidence, motivation, inspiration, joy. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're like, yeah, all of those are really essential for me to run really fast or run really successfully, however you're measuring the success of your run. Well, guess what? When do you work on those? Every single day. That's when you work on them. When is it important to work on them? When's the most important time? Well, the most important time is whatever the now time is. So if the now time is a 1 minute run or a 5 minute run or a 1K run or a 1 mile run, focusing on, working on patience, confidence, motivation, inspiration, joy, all of those things are going to progress together, build upon each other. And if you're working on them early in a comeback, they're only going to become some of your greatest strengths as you move further and further on into this comeback. And I'll also say this, because I'm going to wrap it up, because Studio 18 is about to shut down. Well, it's actually Coach Bennett the Greater needs to use it. But the point here is, end the comeback run wanting to come back and run again. You've heard me say this about a first run. The goal of the first run is that you end it wanting to run a next run. It's the same with a comeback run. And the comeback run wanting to come back and run again. If you can do that, guess what? The comeback continues. And if the comeback continues, it's a successful comeback. So that's episode 103. Straight from New York City. Bathroom on the 18th floor of a hotel I will not name, in a bathroom that almost does not deserve to be called a bathroom. It's like just a buh, because you don't even get the other letters. It's so small. So to all of you out there coming back from injury, sickness, life event, a race, in between season, or just coming back for a next run, cheers to you. I'm proud of you. And it's silly if I'm proud of you and you're not proud of yourself. So catch up, be proud of yourself, and until the next episode, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll meet you on another starting line. Thank you so much for listening to Coach Bennett's podcast today. And if you haven't already subscribed or set yourself as a follower to the podcast, I really hope you would. And make sure you check out the show notes, because in those show notes, you're going to find a link to Coach Bennett's newsletter and all the social media sites I'm on, like Instagram and Threads and Cameo and Blue Sky and nope, not on that one anymore. So all the ones I am on, you're going to find it in the show notes, so check that out as well. And as always, thank you again for listening to Coach Bennett's podcast. Until next time, you keep taking care of yourself and each other.